What's up? Welcome back to the Metalhead Car Show. It's always exciting seeing a legacy car come back from the past. And recently, Nissan said they are bringing back the Nissan Skyline. One of the most iconic sports cars of all time is making its return. And just as you expected, it's coming back as an electric SUV. So today I want to look at this tragedy and another brand who is doing very much the exact same thing. Let's get right into it. So Nissan is not the first company to do this. We saw Mitsubishi take out the Eclipse for the Eclipse Cross, which nobody cares about, and we saw Ford make the Mustang Mach-E, which we'll get back to the Mach-E in a bit. But with Nissan bringing back the Skyline as a electric SUV crossover sort of thing, it really shows they kind of don't know what they're doing right now. Yes, another guy over YouTube saying companies doing a bad job. We've all heard this, but hear me out. When Ford made the Mustang Mach-E, they used the Mustang name, so they need to use a name that generally had some value to it to compete with Tesla. And unlike most brands who've done this, we didn't lose the Mustang. It was just an extension of the Mustang brand. You're allowed to believe the Mach-E is a tragedy, but we didn't lose the Mustang. Ford kind of did this right. So why am I whining about the Skyline? 3 reasons. 1, the Skyline is loved by enthusiasts. When people say Nissan Skyline, nobody thinks of a 2004 G35 rebadged Skyline from Japan. People think 1989 to 2002, I think, GTR cars, primarily. That's the Skyline people want, and that's where the name is truly valued. The people who love Skylines aren't going to buy this because it's the Skyline, and the people who aren't into these legacy JDM cars aren't going to care about the Skyline name, so using it in this application is a massively bad idea. Secondly, the car they should have used the name on now can't be used because they're using it on what's more or less an electric Murano. Had they used the Skyline name on what was going to be the next-gen GTR, would have been brilliant. And probably just the easiest move, all things said and done. Now yes, I know the Nissan Skyline was in production at the exact same time as the Nissan GTR. The Skyline was in production until 2017. And there was even a crossover in that lineup. But with that Skyline dead, and the GTR kind of running its course at this point, we know a next-gen R36 car is coming at some point. Granted, that car is probably also going to be electric, but it would have meant the Skyline can come back in its kind of real form and not this crossover nobody's going to care about. But using it on this crossover, you can't do that anymore. And third, Nissan's going to miss the opportunity to make the Skyline into its own brand. What I mean by that is you brands like Polestar from Volvo, where it's a Volvo, but Polestar's kind of its own thing. And they could have very much done that with Skyline. Had you did that, you could have actually made a crossover that nobody really would have whined about if you also got some sort of R34, R36 legacy car on the Skyline brand that was also EV. I'm not saying bring back the R34, it's 20 years old, move on to something new, but I'm just saying had you made a new car like that, you can get away with a crossover. And you could do a sedan version of that 2-door coupe OG style Skyline. Yes, that would have taken a lot of money, I know, but you have to think long term. You have to think how this car is going to perform in 20 years from now, not just let's bring out this EV and hope for the best. The EV SUV market's already pretty fierce competition. Bringing out something just hoping for the best with and using a Skyline name on it isn't going to cut it. I'm on Team Nissan, I really am, but goddamn, this is an awful idea. Another brand that's doing this, but not quite to the same awful extent, is Dodge. And no, I'm not talking about the Banshee, Charger, Daytona EV. I'm talking about the Stealth. Now, I love the Stealth. I think it's one of the most unique Dodges out there, primarily because, yes, it is a Mitsubishi, but also I think it's just generally one of the coolest 90s American sports cars that were ever made. I've always kind of thought the idea of making a new Stealth on the Challenger body, making it all-wheel drive and twin-turboing it and whatnot, would have been a really cool idea. To hear it coming back as a EV replacement for the Durango is absolutely stupid. Unlike the Skyline, the Stealth name doesn't really matter a whole lot, but the Stealth was only that kind of GT sports car sort of thing. To bring back as an SUV doesn't make sense. Had you wanted to change the Durango out for something like, let's say, the Ram Charger, that's a very cool idea. That would work. But just slapping the Stealth name on there due to you want a new name and you own the rights to Stealth, no, that doesn't make sense. The Stealth itself's kind of faded into a little bit of obscurity. I love them, I really, really do. But this doesn't seem like the right or smart move to bring it back. I understand that a lot of companies are going to need to go full EV in the very foreseeable future, but there's right and wrong ways of doing it. Marketing's going to be a massive thing to make these things sell and get these into enthusiast hands. I know we're like 1%, but also it is a market. And I've said in recent videos, look to Hyundai for this. Hyundai's knocking it out of the park. And they're not just using old names to make people care. Anyway, I want to know, what do you think? Do you think these manufacturers are completely dropping the ball on this and I'm right? Or do you think I'm full of crap and they know exactly what they're doing and this is all well planned? Let me know in the comments. Thank you all so much for watching. Like, subscribe if you enjoyed what you've seen. I post on Tuesday, Friday, and Sunday, and I'll see you later.